Hey, what's going on, everybody? Welcome to episode number 55 of Mirrorless Minutes. Jamie and Mike here tonight. Mike is in the bitter cold. Oh, wait, no. Let me take that back.
Yeah.
He is in the actual nice and warm weather of Phoenix, correct?
Yeah, Phoenix, Arizona, and it's 81 degrees right now. It's cooled down a bit, about 7 degrees from the day. The sun's down.
Yeah. So I'm not looking at the temperature here. I don't want to know. I know that it's not 80, it's not 70, it's not 60, it's probably not 50, barely 50 if it is. So well, boy, we got a lot to talk about.
Boy, we do.
And actually, I think we have so much to talk about that Mike and I were discussing. We're actually going to because of the holiday coming up here in the States, Thanksgiving. Our next show would fall the night before Thanksgiving, doesn't it?
That is correct. Right.
So instead of doing that, I think what Mike and I are going to do, we're going to do another show a week early, because we've got so much to talk about. So we're going to talk tonight a lot, and then next Wednesday we'll meet again, same time, same bat channel. Hope I don't get sued for saying that if it's trademarked. But so like I said, we're going to do tonight's show, half hour, 40 minutes, whatever we run. And then next Wednesday at 8 o'clock as well, we're going to do the same thing again. So
yeah. So there's just been a few things happening, this past week.
Yeah, maybe one or two. So I guess we could just kind of start off by telling everybody, if you're watching this show, I'm sure you know, but for those who are tuning in for the first time, Mike and I were gone for, I'm looking to the side here. I got to open another window. Mike and I were gone for several days to New York City for a special launch event of the new Olympus OM-D E-M1 MarkII.
And I can hold mine up now, which feels great.
Yes. So, like I said, we spent a couple of days there to participate in the launch event and get to hang out with the press, which is always kind of a cool experience. And then we also spent a couple of days after New York City traveling back to Pennsylvania, a few hours away, to Olympus North America headquarters for some meeting time with various executives, and even Mr. Toshi Terada was here from Japan, so we got to speak with him as well. So it was a busy few days. Would you say?
Yeah, I would definitely say so. I think we were getting up at least by 7. We were out at 7, and those couple nights I think we were eating dinner at 11 or 11:30.
Yeah. Oh yeah. We
it was Olympus, a long day tonight.
Good grief, it sure is. So first question by a Mr. Roberto Panic.
Yep.
Says, so Mike, is yours a production or pre-production? Mike's is the same as Jamie's. Everybody in the program currently who had an OM-D E-M1 MarkII given to them. And that is what we would call an IP, or initial production unit. And yes, I'm making all kinds of noise trying to throw stuff all over the place here. So, Bob, I'll hold this up. It still says
the same thing.
Sample.
Sample.
So it is basically an initial production unit is going to be the same as a production unit. It just happens to be the first lot to come out. So firmware wise, it should be the same. Hardware wise, it should also be exactly the same as well. It just has a really, really early serial number in the production cycle.
Right.
So yeah, it's cool. I like now that we run the questions live. I think that's kind of cool. So for anybody watching, you can swing over to the YouTube channel. If you're watching this on your TV, that's cool. If you're on your computer, you can actually interact with us.
Right. Exactly.
So I personally, I kind of want to jump into one part of my image share that I'm going to do tonight. I'm going to do two. One of them, though, addresses or doesn't address it. It showcases one of the features that Olympus has in this camera that I'll talk about really quickly right now. And
do you want to talk about the press event? What table we were at?
You know what?
And then go right into that, because
okay. Tell everybody what we were doing there.
All right. So at the press event, we did elements. Okay, all of us, the visionaries, trailblazers, did the all had an element like fire, water, wind, air, and then the surprise element of outdoor shooting, but that's a whole nother
element.
thing. The fifth element. That sounds like a movie we were making there.
It might have.
So I know when Jamie and I first got our assignment, this is before we got there, our assignment was the water element. I'm thinking, really? I mean, I don't like, Jamie and I are not known for like scuba diving. I thought we were going to, when I saw water, I go, how are we getting into water? What are we doing?
Yeah.
And it turns out that the water element was a bartender mixing drinks.
Right.
And talk about, we were to showcase, Jamie and I, and we did this as the press walked around each of these elements. I guess we can talk about the different elements. The fire one was to do the long exposure hand holding movie shooting. They had a nice little low light,
high ISO low light.
Right. We had a couple guys strumming guitars by a campfire. Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then the other scene. What was the scene with the Arizona scene?
So that was the Earth scene.
Earth scene, yeah. Yeah, and that was, they were shooting the high res shots.
Yeah.
They were shooting the high res shots, and it looked like it was set in a desert. And then we had the spinning women, or whatever, from silk or whatever.
Yeah, they hang from silk, and that was the air. So they had a fog machine rolling, and the girl was suspended. Well, not suspended. She was climbing up and down and dangling from silk scarves, basically.
Right. And, their fog machine at times kept fogging over into our little bartender scene. So we were supposed to be like, if you remember the movie Cocktail and Tom Cruise, and a lot of other things too, but this bartender is throwing bottles behind his back, making all kinds of craziness, drinks that are pouring 4 or 5 at a time. And I saw this guy was like on the Today Show or something. I went to his
really?
Yeah,
cool.
This guy was really, he was good.
Yeah, he was very good at his job.
Yeah, very, very good at his job. And then he was making drinks for everybody. So we had a pretty cool station because people could come over and get a drink too. And
I may have had 1 or 2 of those myself.
That's right. You had mine too. So, but yeah, it was in this Pro Capture feature, which I think now Jamie, we'll go ahead and talk about it. And I think next week I'll even have some to share too. But I'll tell you, this one is a feature. It was perfect to give us this one because we were like 2 kids talking about it, like, oh, you got to see this.
Yeah. So like Mike was saying, our vignette, as they called them, was water. And like he said, this guy was just throwing bottles in the air, and the stainless steel shakers, he'd shake them and break them apart and flip them around. He's doing all kinds of stuff, fast movements, the kind of stuff that if you're shooting it, there are probably like precise moments you would want to capture, but if your finger's not quite fast enough, you might miss the shot. And that's where Pro Capture comes in. And so brief explanation of Pro Capture. When you bring the camera up to your eye or live view, however you want to do it, when you have shutter press to get your focus, the camera instantly starts recording shots, and it's recording them into the buffer in the camera constantly. Just keeps recording. And when you finish pushing your finger all the way down to capture the image, it takes that photo and the previous up to 14 images that it had captured and had saved in the buffer. All those extra ones that it had been doing, it throws away, just keeps those last 14 plus the one that you shot. Or in the case of what I'm going to show you, if you continue to hold down the button, it will continue to capture images all the way up to like 999 more photos.
And you can set that in the menu.
Yes. So you can set the, when you have shutter pressed, you can have it record and save only the last 14 or the last 8 or the last 2, however many you want. 14 is the max. And then after the shutter press and you're continuing to hold, you can continue to take photos all the way out to 999, which is like an absurd number of images. So I'm going to go and I want to just do a quick screen share and show you the sequence that I shot. Mike and I were in Washington Square Park in New York. And let me get to the right window here so I can do this. And there's a dog park within the park, and there was a gentleman there that was throwing frisbees for this beautiful dog here, Australian Shepherd, maybe. I'm not drawing a blank here.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
So what I had set on was continuous autofocus tracking and Pro Capture low, which is the slower shutter speed. And there's a reason for that. If you have it on continuous, or if you have it on Pro Capture high, number one, you get single autofocus. You can't do like the continuous tracking. But also, if you're on Pro Capture high, it captures those 14 frames at 60 frames per second because it's using electronic shutter. So it's like crazy fast. So you would literally only get like the last millisecond of action, whereas it's on Pro Capture low, it's half of that. So this is the first, this is with the 12 to 40 at 40 millimeters. So I think the dog was probably about 25, 30 feet away from me.
Yeah.
So first shot, and I'm going to, hopefully this works out well. I'm going to zoom in, and I'm doing screen share. So this is probably, I'm hoping it works out well, but the dog is in focus and sharp here. Initial focus point, okay? But I'm going to cycle through and just start playing it like an animated GIF file. Mm-hmm. So he's starting to run now to the right, and he's also, it's hard to tell, but he's getting closer to me. So if I go back, he's further away from this fence that's in the initial shot. So I think I'll get back to the top right there. So I think he's probably 15 feet away from the fence. And as he moves closer, 10 feet away from the fence. So he's coming towards me and passing me. It's hard to explain the angle, but he's generally coming towards me in some manner.
And he's cutting sideways like kitty corner and breaking the plane.
Right. So he's running like obliquely. He's not running parallel to me, which is easy for a lot of cameras to do with continuous autofocus. He's running kind of towards me and past me at the same time. Now, I will zoom in, and I'm going to preface this with I was not completely perfect on my settings for this. So anything that doesn't look like tack sharp is because he's in motion and my shutter speed was off. But I think you can get an idea based on this, if there wasn't motion blur, that he would be sharp if I had been a little more cognizant of my settings instead of just being excited to be there shooting this. But it tracked him phenomenally. I could not have been more excited with the performance of not only the continuous, or not only the Pro Capture, but the continuous autofocus tracking on this camera is revolutionary, leaps and bounds above where it's ever been with any Olympus camera for sure. And I think probably with any other mirrorless camera.
I mean, I'm not going to go into the brand that I used to shoot, but if you follow the show and you follow us, you know, and there's a brand with a letter and
starts with an N and ends with an N.
Yeah. And then there's and then the brand starts with something like, I think my wife's first name, Denise, it starts with a D. Yeah. But let me tell you, I shot that full frame, that camera, and that was an ultimate sports camera. This thing, this just doesn't even, that camera wouldn't even live up to this at this frame rate. And when I'm looking, and to understand that millisecond of like the bartender, I think I put one out that night actually, where I wanted him looking at me. As soon as I hit the frame, as soon as I hit the shutter button, I got his face looking away like we always do. Of course, you're taking a family portrait, but then you figure, oh yeah, that's right, I got this on Pro Capture. 14 frames prior, boom, there he is looking right at me.
Right.
You know, it's just, I mean, I can see chasing your kids around, family portraits, your dog, like Jamie just shot there, the dog. I mean, there's some serious things you can do with this Pro Capture to make it just an amazing, product on there. So that was exciting. And then that whole night, I think every time a person did it, when you say they would be like, yes, like, are you kidding?
it's like the first time you show someone live comp and what it can do. It was the same experience with the press there. You know, there were a lot of different outlets there, you know, Imaging Resource was there. PC Mag was there. New York Times were there. Photographer was there. Tons and tons. And CNET. I mean, I think there was someone from The Verge there. There were just so many people, 80 members of the press from various different outlets, whether they be like tech magazines or websites, all the way down to just, you know, or trade publications or
Right.
just lifestyle stuff. And everyone who saw that, once it was explained to them, and then they started to watch the playback on the rear monitor, which is another thing. If you hit the play button to review on that first frame of that sequence and you hold the directional pad down, it actually plays like an animated GIF. And once they saw what they were catching, that was the, you know, like, oh my God, this is freaking cool, you know? So then they were just like filling up their memory cards as fast as they could with like everything that they could, you know, because it was.
I liked, a few of them that walked up that we were both with people, and that, so it was busy around our station. And then some of them would just go up and try to keep taking pictures of the bartender. So they're hitting and hitting, but it's all set to Pro Capture. So they don't realize they might have just taken 400 images. They go, I took about 6 images. I said, no, I think you might have a few hundred in there.
Bob can't even talk tonight. Bob Panic wants to know if Pro Capture is a menu item or if you can get to it from one of the buttons or the Super Control Panel. Super Control Panel is probably the fastest way to get to it. It's going to be in the same place you would find your sequential shooting. It falls right in there. So
it comes right after high speed silent comes Pro Capture high. And then you go into your lows, and then it goes Pro Capture low.
Right.
So it's right there.
Yeah, it is pretty cool. It's definitely one of my favorite features. So do you have any images you want to share right now? I don't want to hog all the image share.
No. Yeah, let's I'll go to it here, and let's see what I've got. Are you seeing
Steven?
Yeah. All right, so Steven made the show. You know me, I'm always big on portraits. I mean, I guess I am sort of, but they're usually in the street.
Right.
But you know, this is actually at Envision Photo Festival. So the last half of our week with Olympus was back in Bethlehem and in that area where the corporate office is in the Envision Photo Festival. People can come to Banana Factory, right?
Correct.
First Friday. And they have great art shows, and so Steven Sunic, I hope I'm saying his name right, Sunic, amazing artist. I mean, you know, we probably should share some of his stuff too sometime. Yeah, right there. He made those for Jamie.
So if anybody's looking for vinyl die cut decals or vehicle wraps or magnetic car signs or prints or anything, Steven can do it. So
exactly. So of course, we got the new camera, and we're playing around with those. But this time, I was able to use the new 25mm f1.2 lens, and wow, that lens is beautiful.
Yeah.
And you know, these are low lit rooms. I mean, there's no flashes, there's nothing going on. But really neat shot of Steve in there like that. Then, of course, I went from that lens. I don't know. I saw one of the other Trailblazers just standing there, and I can't remember who it was, so I won't want to say his name anyways. But he wasn't shooting. I said, "Hey, let's trade lenses so I can get the 12-100 because I wanted to try out the new 12-100 with the new Mark II, and that's where this shot is. And again, portraits. You've got Laura. Laura Hicks there, our fellow Trailblazer with Megan Crandallmeyer. She came in for the festival, and she's been. If you follow the show, you've seen Megan. She's doing the 52 Magic Mondays project, where she goes into New York every week on a Monday and captures amazing images, and has been doing it all year. I think she might only have 9 weeks left, which is pretty cool. So, but so that's ISO 1600 f4.0. Just boy, is that a smooth lens to deal with, and the focusing in and out. But these next ones are all shot with the 12-100. But this is Jamie and I got a chance to go in. They have a glass blowing. I really wouldn't call it a studio. It seems bigger than a studio, but boy, they just got a huge glass blowing area there where they are. We got 5-6 people like in a symphony running around and getting things and blowing glass, putting different colors. And these are some of the color sands that they use, the table that they have laid out. This is at ISO 5000, of course, straight out of the camera. We don't have any, no raw profiles yet to do it. I guess we could have pulled it off from Olympus Viewer and the TIFF, but this is straight off the camera. I mean, this, wow. It's, you know, ISO 5000, same thing. I got another picture of that table right there on an angle. It, again, you know, with the 12 to 100 and ISO 5000, I mean, the clarity, you know, I mean, nothing as far as noise. And that place is as bright as it is near the fire. Wouldn't you say otherwise? It's sort of dark, a lot of dark, shadowy corners.
It's very dark.
Yeah. So you really, if you're near the fire, and this, of course, this area isn't near the fire. So love this lens. But the next ones I got to share from New York. I've got to get away just for a minute from our great Mark II and talk about the Pen F. So, of course, Jamie and I, one of the things we did is we went in real early. We wanted to get in early so we could explore New York, not like, you know, we could have used like 5 weeks, I think, to explore New York, but we got a few extra hours at least. But this is cool. This Mad Hatter just struck me and shot with the Pen F, and of course the 17 in the mono profile too that I love. But you know, just looking at this guy, he is so dressed up. It's funny, and then he's bought paper towel. I don't know, something is different. You know, it's a street shot. You know, it's a street shot. And then if you've watched a couple of our shows, we're going through Central Park, doing a lot of walking in Central Park, and of course we're getting approached by Hare Krishnas, probably. I don't know.
No, I don't know what these guys are.
No, I don't know. But we're going to approach a lot by them to buy certain things. But this goes right to my first person shooter catalog that has a little side project I've been working on where I let the people get as close as possible to me. And you know, this Pen F shot with the body cap fisheye. Once again, the body cap fisheye, the capturing is amazing with that thing. And if you get close enough on a bright day like it was, they're beautiful shots, you know. And if you can get those guys' hands right up to your camera, it looks like you're actually interacting with them. And that's what I try to do with this, is I'm trying to get people to interact, and that's what I really wanted to do. So that's just a few. I think with next week, we're I mean, I don't know about you, Jamie, but I just have thousands of images.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
I mean,
so
yeah,
a couple of people chimed in. One wants to know if either of us are into video. I know I'm trying to do more and more video. I shot some video in New York. Unfortunately, video doesn't work well like over a Hangout. I guess I can probably post some video samples on my YouTube channel. So Mr. Travel Bunny, if you want to, just check me out on YouTube and I'll try and get some up there. I did a really cool one in, what is the park in Chinatown that we go to, Mike?
Columbus. That's Columbus. Okay. Or Washington.
That's what I thought. Washington Square.
Washington Square. Yeah, because I got that one too, where I started videoing the streets, and all of a sudden we had a funeral.
Yeah,
a Chinese funeral where they had the casket up high on top of a car, and it was really. I got that in 4K, so I gotta get that out.
Yeah. So I've got a couple of different sample videos. One in Washington Square Park that I shot in mono, which was kind of cool. You know. And then Imposter Top wants to know. He says, any color changes noticeable with the processor compared to the EM1? He's looking at your color photos. I know that's a really subjective thing. I guess I'd have to do some side by sides. That's something we could probably look at doing. Just setting up a couple of random items and putting original and Mark II versions of the EM1 on tripod and shooting. I don't know. I don't know that they would necessarily process a whole lot different. I think Olympus.
I don't think so. But I'll tell you. I mean, you got a 20. I mean, you have 20.
Right. There's probably a little more color depth.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking too. And you know, and those colors were bright that I showed you. I mean, they were bright even in there. That's what drew my attention to it, obviously.
Yeah, I think you might want to shoot like something with a color gradient in order to see it.
So. Yeah.
And then Bob Panic says you didn't need high ISO. You could just shoot it 1 or 2 seconds. It's static, but we weren't in an environment that you could be static. They were swinging around molten glass, so it was like a dance on that floor, and there was a gentleman there directing us as to where we could be. So Mike probably had a second to shoot that spot. So
easy. We were on auto ISO as much as possible because every second we were being pushed. Pulled to move now.
Yep. Oh yeah. Because
It's crazy.
It's molten glass, and there's not a lot of room in there. So
right, and you'll see pictures. I've got some good pictures of how tight it is in there over the nenext couple weeks. I'm sure I'll be posting on Facebook talking a little bit about it.
Yep. Let's see. So I've got. I'm really loving sharing photos tonight.
Yeah,
because it's this camera's the bomb. So
sure.
I'm gonna go with these. So these so this first image was shot of my friend Scott. He's an airline pilot by day, mountain biker by night. I told him I had a project I was working on for Olympus and needed to shoot some action shots. So he volunteered to take me to this cool mountain bike course near Lansing, Michigan. And this was probably a month ago when I couldn't talk about the camera at all. And my first time shooting with the camera in a darker environment. It doesn't look dark in this shot, but trust me, when you're in the woods and you're getting towards evening, it's dark. So this is on auto ISO. This is my shot that is at like ISO. Shoot, I should have pulled up the EXIF, damn it. I don't know if I can do it this way. No, I can't do it that way. I think this is a 10,000 ISO shot, if I'm not mistaken. As a matter of fact, I know this one is because the whole series on this ramp were. So this is the ISO 10,000. And I guess I could probably zoom in, show you the detail on it. Again, I'm doing this over a Google Hangout. And so I'm sure it doesn't translate perfectly, but I'd say it's pretty damn good for ISO 10,000. Plus he's in motion. I had to shoot like that in order to get him as still as I could to freeze the motion. And then a few weeks later, I went out and did another photo shoot. It was with my buddy Seth riding his motorcycle. You want to talk about image stabilization? So I'm hanging out the back of my friend Mark's truck while we're driving down the road. We're not going super fast, but we're probably doing about 40, 45 miles an hour. And when you're hanging out the back of a truck at 45 miles an hour with the wind blowing on the camera, and it's a country road, so it's not exactly a smooth road. And these photos, again, came out like super sharp. I hate doing screen shares like this. Hopefully it translates well, but nice and crispy. And these are all JPEGs straight out of the camera too. So I've had no ability to do a whole lot of work with them. And then a few weeks after that, or about a week after that, my wife and I went up north for some fall color shooting and just got like off the beaten path. This shot was 1.5 seconds long, according to EXIF data. And again, I keep zooming in on these things, nice and smooth. And that's with the 12 to 100. So I was using the 12 to 100 to just try and get as close as I could to the mushrooms. And love the color that's coming out of the camera. So it's funny that someone would mention color. Next shot, New York City. We are at the police station. And I only shot this just because I love the color on this building. I'm assuming at one point in time it was copper, and it's got this cool aqua patina to it. Remind me of something out of like RoboCop or something. And I'm always shooting weird stuff when I'm in the city. Next shot is at Central Park, and this is with a modified monotone setting. So this isn't anything that's been edited in Photoshop or Lightroom or anything like that. But I just had this little imagination thing going where I thought he was shooting me while I was shooting him. And last couple of shots here, I'm rolling through them kind of quick. It's Mike Bain and Larry Price in a cemetery at sunrise in Bethlehem, PA. It's funny when you get together the group of photographers, everybody ends up shooting the other photographers as well as everything around them. I just thought that was a little fun behind the scenes thing of something that we were doing while we were there. And last shot, so this is for Bob. This is what we were shooting. This is what we were working with. And this is an ISO 1600 shot. So this one wasn't quite as high as the 6400, but at 1600 still, I think the noise is like beautiful, and it's like phenomenally good. So those are just some quick ones, like, I don't know, like 8 or 9 of them that I had there.
Yeah, those are great, man. And I was thinking about that monotone, mono settings. I won't belabor it, but I already set one up in the camera, and I think Jamie and I were in Chinatown looking at some of the new stuff. When you go into that monotone setting on the new Mark II, you got highlights and shadows, mid-tones. You can do the whole, gamut of adjustments, a lot very similar to the Pen F.
Yeah.
And so I already set a nice crunchy black and white setting in one of my settings already for that. And maybe that segues into our next and last topic, the settings. Do you want to talk about that? The saving your settings?
So, and it's funny because if you've updated any of your Olympus software, which I know a lot of people don't really use the Olympus software, but there's one component of it that you probably should use, and that's the Updater app, so that you can make sure your firmwares are all good and good. So with the new Olympus Updater app, a feature was added to it, and I'll tell you what, I could probably open up the Olympus Updater app and just do a quick screen share and show you what that new feature is. Again, this would be for those who were just, oh wait, I took a camera. I'm not going to do all that crap. I'll just cut to the chase. So now you can save your settings. Currently, and everybody's like, save your settings? What does he mean? Previously, if you did one of the larger firmware upgrades, you would lose your custom settings on your camera. So if you had custom button functions assigned or custom presets, like on this camera, C1, C2, C3 are customs. If you had all those things set previously, you would lose those. And you'd have to start from scratch and reset your camera to how you like it. And that sucks. The new version of the Olympus Updater app saves those into a separate special file. And that file can be put on a thumb drive, stored on your computer, put it on Dropbox, wherever you want to have it. So that if you have to do a firmware update, or if, let's say you get a second body and you want those camera settings to be the same, you can actually take those saved settings and upload those to your camera. Or if you are thinking a little bit outside of the box, like Mike and I have been for a while now about this stuff, you can share those. You can share those settings with other people. And I don't know how many times I've shared my monotone setting with other people because they like the look that I'm getting with it. So Mike has gone out and set up a Facebook group for sharing your custom saving or your custom settings. Because of Facebook now allows you to upload files.
Right. That's our drum roll. That's our announcement. Sorry. A little late on an uptick, but
yeah, it's the power of the internet.
That's right.
So Mike made that page a little while ago and just turned it on to being a public page.
Right.
So like I said, currently right now it is an EM1 MarkII only feature. We're hoping that previous generations of cameras get that ability as well. Especially, I'm really going to push super hard that this happen and happen fast. I really want the Pen F to have this feature. If that feature opens up to more than just EM1 MarkII, I think Mike's going to go in. He's going to rename the group to Olympus Cameras, Preset, whatever. We're going to come up with a name for it so that people can share settings back and forth. But the main premise of that is if you know a photographer who shoots with Olympus who's like a phenomenal sports or bird photographer, and you're like, damn, what are your settings? How do you shoot? They'll be able to export their settings out to the group. You'll be able to download them and apply them to your camera. If you don't like them, just re-import your old ones back.
Re-import your old ones, save your first copy, and we'll have a sharing community going on. And for right now, it'll be just for the EM1 MarkII. But like you say, Jamie, who knows where it's going to go? But
Bob Panic wants to know if they're going to update the phone app to do it too. Bob, we've been pushing for that. It's good that we even got this so far right now. I have a feeling that several pieces of software are going to be getting revamped over in the future. There were things discussed at the roundtable discussion at Olympus headquarters that that let us know that they understand some things aren't where they could be. And it's always a work in progress. So sit tight.
But they listened. I mean, just take the camera. I mean, look at the features on this thing, and think about how many of those probably came out from different summit meetings or whatever.
Right. Oh yeah, a lot of the last couple of generations of cameras features. A lot of that comes out of those meetings. Mr. Travel Bunny says that Olympus Software Updater version 2.0 has this feature. Yes, it does. And if it's available on your EM5 Mark II, that's awesome because I haven't been able to get it to work on mine. and I've tested it on EM5 Mark II, EM1 Mark I, OM-D EM10 Mark II, and Mark I, and a Pen EP5 and a Pen F. So I've tested a lot of cameras. It only currently works on the EM1 Mark II.
Yeah, and we'll put a link to that Facebook group. So go ahead, join. It's a public group now. And then I pinned Jamie's video. What was it, about 6-minute video?
Yeah, it's a short video, 5 or 6 minutes.
But yeah, it shows how to do it. I mean, probably already know, but it's real simple. And I'll tell you what, even the new updater software, not that it's groundbreaking, but that looks really nice. It's a nice UI.
It looks current.
Yeah, It looks current. Thank you. There's a good word.
Yep. Imposter Tot wants to know if either of us have tried to see how long of an exposure we could get handheld and have a decent shot. I'm crappy. I'm not a good hand holder, but I shared a photo on one of the Facebook groups. Hopefully, Imposter Tot, you're on all the Facebook groups. I think it was the EM1 Mark II enthusiast group of a 2.5-second shot that I did 3 weeks ago or whatever of a river with leaves floating down it. 2.5 seconds. It's pretty good for me. That was 2.5 seconds, not standing, but that was me squatting down to get a low perspective. I know Chris Gampett of the Photographer shot and this is crazy. Nobody's going to believe it unless you were there, but I'll tell you what, dude, we were all there. 15-second shot. A lot of people were getting 5 and 6 second shots. Chris did like some weird ninja breathing exercise, slowed his heart rate down, and went into some Zen state, but 15 seconds, man.
Yeah, it was, and it's ridiculous. Unbelievable. So actually, I'm going to go out tonight, hopefully, to get some. See what I can do.
Mr. Travel Bunny wants to know if we do live composite much. Brother, you need to follow Mike and I. We do a lot of that.
That's my life.
We do a lot of that. So, man, we've been running here for 37 minutes.
Yeah.
We're probably going to wrap it up. Again, Mike is on the other side of the country from home because it's a work night for him.
Right.
So, Mr. Travel Bunny, URL, I'm going to paste some URLs here in the chat really quick for you. Mike, do you have any particular URLs you would like?
If he goes, you know what? If you just drop Flickr? In my, I would drop in my. Yeah, you could send him to Flickr, and then maybe just my website, MikeBaining.com, because if you're, not only that, I've got 4 or 5 different how I got that shot information about live composite in there too.
Oh yeah,
yeah. So he could pick that up. I don't know if he wants to do it or he has been doing it, but yeah, for sure. I mean, live composite is that's our life, it feels like. So, but yeah, it's been a good show, and we got another one next week, so don't forget, come back next week. And we'll have more about the camera that we're able to dig into. I know Jamie's had for a little while longer, but we keep discovering things, and more maybe to talk about from with image share and how we did some of the pictures while we were in New York last week.
Yeah, I think that's probably a good idea. So I guess with that, everybody, we're going to wrap it up for tonight. I appreciate everybody tuning in live, and I really, really, seriously, sincerely appreciate you guys asking questions. It changes the whole dynamic of what we're doing. It's almost like we could sit here and pass a bowl of chips around and everybody's hanging out.
There you go.
So I guess we'll stop the broadcast here, and don't forget, tune in next Wednesday night, same 8 o'clock, just like always, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We'll see you guys in a week.
See you later.